Hey, what's up? You tuned back into another episode of Forest Kids podcast, which is fucking crazy. So today I have my new buddy, and probably for the first time in a long time, someone younger than me. In fact, this may be the only time I had someone younger than me on the podcast, because all these motherfuckers I've interviewed prior are like my quote-unquote peers, I think, and then I interview them. They're like, yeah, I'm a father of two. So fucking wild. So here I am with Ryan Hankins of Midside, or now MS, and it's just an all-around awesome artist, musician in Philadelphia. So what's up, Ryan?
Nothing much. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, dude. This is a nothing-ass show.
That's okay. That's okay.
I just like doing this for a lot of reasons, but mainly to dive in to people and learn their full story, and typically only if I'm interested. Like, that's the only thing I can take away from this, is that like I'm not interviewing people I don't give a fuck about. Like, I'm genuinely loved the record, and I'm gonna talk about that in a minute too.
Yeah.
And just all types of shit. And I just think, meeting you. So really quick, how we met, Ryan was a student worker at WRTI where I work, and we just basically hit it off from there. And yeah, fucking, I don't know anything about your musical journey at all.
Yeah, no.
So we could just fucking start there really quick. If you're, so basically how I start these questions is like, what was that first fucking moment where you were like, oh, I need to pick up a guitar?
Oh, yeah.
Or you're like, what? Like, or you really started listening to a song and you're like, whoa, wait,
Yeah.
what? Like that oh shit moment. Do you remember that oh shit moment?
Yeah, let it sink in a little deeper. I probably like public school bus rides when you're like, maybe 15 or 16, you're sitting on the bus at 6:30 in the morning. You're like really depressed about life or whatever.
Dude, that's preaching to the fucking choir.
Oh, yeah.
That was my church, was the fucking bus ride to and from high school.
Yeah, right? I was probably like listening to Fleet Foxes, just like drowning myself out in reverb, just thinking about, I don't know what I was thinking, what was important back then, but
well, like,
it was funny.
So like what kind of were those bands? So Fleet Foxes?
Definitely. Dive, like the Zachary Cole Smith project, that was like huge. I like sitting in like high school classes just listening to like his guitar riffs, because it's like that twinkly kind of indie rock, like Smith sounding stuff, but it's like doused in reverb. I was just so obsessed with anything with reverb on it back then.
Big boomy sounds.
Yeah, exactly. Indie rock drums like that, like anything with that kind of beat.
Yeah, like
that was it for like maybe 5 or 6 years.
Would you say that like back then, especially in that time, like pure adolescence juice time, like were you like the most picky person ever listening to music? Because I feel like that was when I was like, oh man, I really can't get into this. Or like I was into like very different shit and was experimenting and grasping all these new artists, but like in the midst of grasping all those new artists, I felt like I ran into so many artists that I like today, but back then I was like, yo, I can't really do. He does that thing with the guitar. I can't do that.
Yeah.
It's not reverby enough for me. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I know exactly what you mean. I think I was super open because I grew up on I remember like the first thing I really wanted to do was DJ, and I was really into like Monster Cat music. And like I remember like
Monster Cat music.
Yeah, Monster Cat. It was like a record label from
Is that like Lap Fox Tracks? Do you know what that is?
No. What's Lap Fox?
Lap Fox Tracks was I guess something similar, because it was a label, well, kind of like also inspired Forest Kids Collective, I guess, because I knew a lot of it was the same person, and they would drop all these different aliases, and each alias was like a totally different vibe. But then later on I learned a lot of those were different artists and blah blah blah, and they were just featured on the label. But it was kind of like Beer on the Rug too, like finding like those huge labels. But yeah, like Lap Fox Tracks is like the same shit, I believe.
Yeah, kind of like a curator almost.
Yeah.
Of like their own sound, or of like a bunch of other people's
I think
sounds?
It's a bunch of other people mixed with their own.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because it was all furry themed.
That's
like
sick.
Each one was like a different furry.
No way.
Yeah, like the mouse was like fucking chiptune and whatnot. It was fucking great.
That's so cool. Yeah, Monster Cat was like a Canadian record label, and it's just like I don't know how to describe it. It's not really dance music, but it's like dance adjacent. It was just super big, like synthy kind of sounds. I think like melodic music in that electronic realm was super cool to me. Like melodic oriented like dubstep tracks.
Oh,
stuff
so
like that.
it still had like that EDM
that
flavor to it.
So like mainstream EDM.
Yeah, okay.
But it was cool.
Like stuff like that lasts to the test of time, you know?
Yeah.
But it took me a long time to get into like super high production drums. I only liked it on certain records. Like for some reason Skrillex and like Deadmau5 were the only ones I dove into. So like today I'm trying to go back and like really not listen to anything mainstream, but like just great artists in those genres, you know?
Yeah, yeah.
But I feel like I'm so fucking, I don't know, dick, man.
Me neither.
Oh my God. But
I was listening to a lot of like Skrillex back then too. It was so funny. Like a lot of my friends were like, "Oh, like that music's," like, you know, when there was that era where everyone was like, "Skrillex is just pressing a space bar."
Yeah.
Like you can't. Yeah. I think that was when I started like playing guitar. Was a lot of my friends are like, "You don't have to do anything. Like you just sit there with your dick in your hand and like you just it's so easy." And it's so funny because a lot of those same people nowadays are like so into like high production and like going back into that earlier.
that's funny as
Electronic
fuck.
sound too.
Isn't that interesting?
Right?
How everyone like flips eventually.
Everyone flips.
Because like I started being in a death metal band, and
Oh yeah.
yeah, like my older brother who is like amazing at guitar, like all I wanted to do was like fucking play music like him. And so like as soon as I got the chance to do something, I was like, well, I can't fucking do guitar because he's doing that, and that would be fucking copying. So I'm like, gotta do the next best thing. Drums are the coolest fuck. And back then I was such a lazy motherfucker. I would always pick something that seemed easy but wasn't. Like I'd be like, oh, I'll be goalie. Like I don't gotta run around. It's the hardest fucking job.
Or like catcher in baseball. You're just getting pegged by baseball.
Some dumb fucking idea. I'm like, oh, I'll be drummer. You're sitting. Fucking, and then I'll play death metal. Like, it's like you're running, motherfucker.
Oh, that makes so much sense. When we were recording in the studio the other day, I heard that influence. Like like a lot of the kick patterns you were doing, that like fast, like that double
I
kind
can't
of
get
stuff.
it out of me. No matter what I
that's
do,
cool.
it just like comes, and I'm like, fuck, it's so ingrained. It's like that and Travis Barker beats will just only flow out of me. And so I try so hard when I play kit to like not do that and like dumb it down, because the minute I'm like, oh, let me show you something flashy, it's like immediately that. It's immediately metal or some stupid fill. But yeah, dude, like I loved doing that. And for a long time it was just fuck, I totally forgot where I was going with that.
Yeah, me too.
Oh shit.
Well,
We're talking about death metal
yeah.
or like bands starting out. But anyway.
Oh yeah, that was the first band you were in. We're talking about like.
Oh yeah,
You're
so
talking
like
about
I
Skrillex
started
before
in
that.
death metal and shit.
Yeah.
And like back then I was so like, if it's not super intense, if it's not super this, if it's not XYZ, I don't want to listen to it. And like when I first heard of Skrillex, I was, and like shit like that, I was like, yo, you fucking like electronic music, pff, like what? Pff, that's so nothing. That's cheating. And it took me to like finding like the simplest electronic music for me to be like, oh, this is so awesome. Like this is the most gorgeous shit ever. And yeah, it's just funny how shit changes you. I think my buddy actually told me like, oh yeah, I read this article. It takes Skrillex like a month or two to write a single song. And I'm like, what? But it's all on the computer. Well, and then I just sat with that for like months, like 2 months to write a song, and you have the studio like all there, a million instruments at your fingertips. Like that just, I don't know, that fucking, I think that really changed my mind on everything. Yeah. But let's go back deeper to that moment of playing guitar. So it was your friends, like the whole DJ thing, and you're like, I don't want to just do nothing.
Yeah,
I gotta do something extra.
Gotta do something, yeah. I grew up in a neighborhood full of like kids who played instruments too, right? And like parents who were in bands together. So I think that was like, I'll learn guitar, you know what I mean? Well, guitar was the first thing, and then it was DJing. But like I really dove back into guitar. Like I started to sink into that kind of in high school, just playing like with my friends, like, you know, like birthday parties. Like one of our friends would have a birthday party, and we'd set up like a drum kit and a guitar amp and all that, and we would just play like Nirvana and Green Day songs.
You know,
so much Nirvana.
I really wish I had that instead of I like what I had because it made me who I am, blah blah blah. But like that sounds so nice and like not pressured, because like in my high school it was like we had 4 bands like quote unquote competing with each other.
Oh yeah.
In this, and like we were all friends, we were all super tight friends in these divided up bands, but then it was just like this total unsaid like, yeah, but we got more Facebook likes, or like some dumb shit like that.
Yeah.
Or like, yeah, but like they're playing better shows than us, so we gotta do better. Like you guys just getting together and just being whatever about it.
Yeah, we didn't have any bands though. There wasn't like in our high school. There was one metal band, and I don't remember what
you
they
don't
were
compete
called.
with metal bands.
Yeah, but we didn't. I didn't even like talk to them. My high school was so big that they were just like. But everyone in our high school knew them as like that band.
That's still
really
sick
funny.
though.
It is cool, yeah.
But like that's such niche. Like I remember when I was in the metal band, no one gave a fuck.
Yeah.
Like no one gives a shit if you're in a metal band, other than like
Some
maybe
people.
one metalhead. But like there wasn't anybody like that, you know. So it was just like, so, hey, I'm in a band. They're like, yeah, whatever.
Yeah.
Shut up.
Yeah, I wish I could go back to like that time period and like own whatever I was doing.
Yeah.
10 times the amount that I was, right? Because I feel like when you're that young, it's so easy to build a community around you. If you're like, hey, there's like a house party tonight, my parents are away, I'm in high school, and everyone's invited. You know what I mean? You
Yeah.
think about like the amount of people that would probably show up to something like that.
Just
Instead of-
go for it.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Whatever age you are, you just gotta go
I feel
for it.
like so many. Everyone thinks that, you know.
Yeah.
That's probably one of the most popular thoughts of all time.
Oh yeah.
If I could just go back and do it all again.
Oh my god.
Yeah. Fuck. The amount of, like, I still talk about it. Like, I had a podcast episode with my buddy Antonio, who we talked about our first band and oh my god, dude, like that was the funniest fucking shit, because it brought up all these memories of just like, holy fuck, I was the cringiest motherfucker in the world.
It's fun.
Yeah, I guess it's all good, but it's just really funny how people can totally shape your perspective of things, and just time shapes your perspective of things like that. So let's talk how your guitar has progressed. So you picked up guitar, you're like, oh, I want to keep doing this. So right now we're talking about, I've been talking about your project Midside, which you now changed to M-S, right?
Yeah, it's M-S on. I still call it Midside. Like when I'm on a show bill, it's Midside. But when you look on Spotify and you see all those Midsides from like Sao Paulo or like Argentina, it's probably gonna go back to Midside. I think the next level that I kind of want to take it to is where I kind of start to engulf that name around all those streaming platforms and stuff.
I think you could just like do a re-upload and just get creative with the capitalization.
Yeah,
That's a really big thing, especially like because just look at some of the other accounts for Midside. Like none of them are active, and
No, not at all.
luckily none of them is a shitty lo-fi motherfucker, because that'd be annoying as hell to get mixed up in.
if they were good, like a shitty good
Yeah,
lo-fi
like as in, like they're
motherfucker.
playlisted and stuff. You're like,
Yeah.
fuck, there's no way.
Yeah.
I've had that like happen 3 times with like, oh, that's a great idea for a name. Type it in, and they're like 5 million monthly listeners. Like, shit, there's no way a fucking space in between each is gonna work or something like that.
Yeah, that's the next step I want to take it to, is definitely like own that name a little more, because I like Midside better than M-S. Whenever I'm like, oh, my name's Midside, and someone goes to Spotify, they look it up, they have no idea where to find it, so I'm like, type in the album Portal Hopper, right?
Yeah,
I have to like
to say,
spoon feed
even
them.
M-S doesn't really come up for me.
No, not at all. Yeah,
It's really hard.
it sucks.
But I feel like by the time this comes out, you look up Midside and Portal Hopper, you'll be like, oh,
Yep.
fuck, there's that thing they were talking about.
Yeah, absolutely. And that album is such like a lab creation. It's so many like overdubs and electronic beats, which I really want to keep. I really want to keep sinking into that. But at the same time, I want to like my next project for Midside might be like a more stripped down, just guitars and live drums kind of album.
Interesting. Can I make a little outside looking in?
Yeah.
I love how music room it sounds. It's so chaotic in a good way, to where it's like I'm surprised by every song. I'm like, whoa, okay, we're going here now. Oh, it's this. Oh, okay, whoa, okay, and it's one guitar solo. It's always just like this swirling fucking everything happening. And I think that's so interesting. Like, I love that. Anything where it's like, this would take a long time to recreate. Like, where if I, like, listening to, like, say, as a bad example, I guess, but like the XX, like a super simple, like, dun 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 dun, or like, it's like, oh, I could do this in a half hour. Like, or like any person could do this in a half hour. Depending on, like, I love that track for its simplicity, which is why I said it's a bad example. But I mean, just that deters me a lot, especially with new music and like new artists. It's like, come on, like, you know, there's 50,000 tracks being uploaded a day. How are you being different? And it just sounds so messy in a great way. Again, it reminds me of like an Animal Collective thing, if they were like a full band almost. And I feel like don't lose that like maximalist, I guess you could call it.
Cool.
I really love that shit. And then like the more well, let's talk about your influences for that for a sec, because like we talk about Square Pusher a lot. Well, like, what did you like envision for that? Like, I know it's kind of a mix of just like, here's all these completed songs I did in one, a bit, because it's all over the place, but like in a good way. So like, what was your envision for this whole record? Like,
that's a great question. Definitely Square Pusher's a huge influence on that record. It's a huge influence. A lot of those like first couple albums, so good. Hard Normal Daddy definitely was one of the biggest influences.
Those are crazy. Yeah, that's a great album.
I remember having COVID and listening to that in a weird state of mind that was just so like, I don't know. I was seeing things like mechanical objects like moving around. When you're like really sick and you listen to music too, sometimes it sinks in like.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Like those like 6 a.m. days, like when you're a little kid.
A couple extra cough.
Pills
or whatever. Like whatever.
Exactly.
I'm not going anywhere.
Yeah, that definitely. Animal Collective, like you said, a huge influence. A.V. like guitar playing. He's got this like messy sort of. He's more of a chords guy than I am. I like to have that like laser beam guitar solo.
Yeah,
once in a while.
That too. You have a mix of like laser beam precision when you need it to be.
Yeah.
And then this just like.
Yeah, well, I can't play saxophone, so when I play guitar, like a solo or something, I want it to sound like a saxophone, or like almost like the guitar version of a saxophone. Just
really
big picture laser beam. That's like I don't know. It's like I'm either singing or like doing the saxophone thing.
Laser
with
beams.
Guitar. Yeah, I call it laser beams. That's like the general concept, I think, for like maybe taking solos and stuff like that. But for chords, like A.V. is like got this sort of messy style of guitar. Like if you listen to Feels, like all his guitar on that is covered in this like delay that kind of feels like it's before the beat and after the beat, and it feels like this hummingbird like kind of like I think tickling inside of this.
They have like multiple delays going on. I think there's like one that's like in time and one slightly off.
Yeah,
so it catches and hops on, or I don't know.
It's crazy.
I love the record though.
It's weird.
Feels is perfect.
Oh yeah, it's beautiful. Yeah. And I think I also want to get more into like floaty tracks. Like if you listen to the second half of that record too, it's all floaty, off of the beat kind of tracks. Like it feels like they didn't make it to a grid either.
Oh yeah,
you know what I mean?
No. They probably made it to the guitar.
Yeah, exactly.
Like and just like went for it. Like that's one of those records where it feels very. They were tripping balls writing it,
probably.
Like I love that in an artist's progression, by the way, where it's like. Clearly, here's where they started doing drugs or whatever. Like,
yep.
Like you could say like Blink to AVA or like Jefferson to Starship, Trooper to Starship or whatever the fuck.
Mm-hmm.
And I just love those moments, and like it's hard to find them anymore because I don't know, people try to do a thing, but like what was that one band? There's another band like Slow Dive has that one record that's just like, and here's when they did drugs in the fucking studio.
Slow is another funny story. I remember listening to Slovaki like in high school, and I had this crazy dream that my dad, my brother, and I were in this like garage, like this huge engineering lab. My dad is like really into like tinkering with things, so like there's always some project going on. But we were building this harp that had these like blue strings on it, and I was like half asleep, so I saw it Slow Dive like 46 days or 47 days, or whatever that song's called. Just like blasting in my ears. I'm half asleep and we're like building this harp and it's just the most beautiful, like it's like sitting on a table with like laptops plugged into it and shit.
Fuck.
I don't know. That was a huge inspiring moment for me. Dreams like that are pretty cool.
Damn.
Never written a song in a dream though. I wish I could.
Yeah, I'm trying to think if I ever been inspired by a fucking dream. I mean, I have like several nightmares that are super childish that are just like locked in my brain forever.
Yeah.
And one that I had like reoccurring that was just like, it felt like it was a transition on like Nick Jr. in like 2000, and it was like a painting, and it was like borderline was like moving like a fucking AI deformed video or something on how it was just like like frame, and it like moved in to the painting, and there was just like all these spiders like, but like far away, like I was like looking at it like floating.
Like from
like,
a distance.
and
yeah.
they're all, you just see like them like walking across the background, like the land, like from side to side, and then like the sun is like a giant spider, and I wake up and I remember that fucking to this day, and that's maybe like the first dream I ever had.
Wow.
Fucking yeah, wow.
I'm glad you were from a distance from that.
Yeah,
Kind of cool.
I was petrified of spiders, but like that one I was like, that wasn't too bad, but I'm rattled.
Yeah.
Yeah, a bunch of dumb shit like that. Fuck.
That's so funny.
So yeah, back to midside.
Yeah.
Fucking so Animal Collective, all that shit. What was the dealie with the drummer? Like you had your friend play drums on it?
Yeah,
right?
my friend Kyle Noon played drums on 2 of those tracks. The track Down 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 he played on, and then The Zone, which I've had like 15 versions of The Zone going on my head. Going on guitar.
Like as a fan, I want a whole album of The Zone.
Just stuff like that, yeah.
I want a whole Zone album, man. I want
so
to
hard.
be in. I know, but
Took way
it's
too long
so
to make.
good.
Yeah.
Like that hook is just so like carefree, silly, and like awesome at the same time. Like you have a good voice and it's super original, and like you throw a little like, I don't know, twang to it that I don't hear in talking that I think is awesome.
I do that with my voice sometimes.
Yeah,
I do
why
that.
not?
You just like play a character
Why not?
occasionally.
What's like the second song where it's where you sing on it?
Oh, second song on the album?
Yeah.
It's called My Biggest Secret.
Yeah,
But I
yeah.
started calling it Secret Song because a couple of my friends started saying that, and I was like, that's a good
Yeah,
good thing to say. Yeah.
Hey, re-release says that, but I like that song a lot too. That's got a great fucking hook to it. Like, that's what I'm saying. Like, you have these crazy. I just wish you could like compact the whole album into a single song and then make a whole album of that. Basically.
Yeah.
Because it's so many awesome flavors.
That's really interesting.
You got some crazy shit going on, man. Like, don't lose that fire. If I could say one thing, it's that, because I love it. It's really cool stuff. Do you have anything planned, like for more stuff? Right? Like, where are you writing right now? Or what's
Yeah,
going
I'm
on?
writing right now. I'm trying to write shoegaze songs that have that same sort of crazy feel to them. I feel like, and I'm not trying to play on the fact that Philly's a shoegaze town, but Philly is a shoegaze town. I like a lot of the bands I'm going out to see are like have that sound. So I guess like subconsciously in my guitar playing, some of the riffs I'm writing just have that kind of like sunk in. But
Dude, you're inspired by your fucking environment.
Yeah,
What's
yeah.
the big whoop?
yeah, nothing. I want to hear that stuff produced so much more.
Yeah.
Like just like to a maximum. Instead of just putting a guitar up to an amp, it's like, can you put a guitar up to an amp and blow it out with a saturator, and then like pump it to some drums, make live drums sound like they're not even real things, stuff like that. So like I said earlier, when I was trying to make like a stripped back version, it's not stripped back, it's just like making like 2 or 3 instruments sound big and
going
huge,
insane in them.
yeah, exactly.
Nice.
Versus like having electronic tracks with a lot going on.
Mm-hmm.
But I do want to do more stuff like The Zone too, a lot of that sort of like dubsteppy feel where there's a lot of different moving parts.
Mm-hmm.
Because that's kind of fun. That's fun as a listener.
And it's really awesome, like composed too, like the transitions and like the cuts and
Yeah.
stuff like that. Like that's really well done. Do like how you play live? So how do those practices go? Like and how does that translate to the live performances? Because it's pretty in depth. Like you use backtracks. Like what goes on?
No, I've been stripping them back for live audiences. Right now, I've just been doing a trio So you'll kind of see me on bills with like my name midside with like a trio in parentheses, because I want to get the songs down to their most simple form. So a lot of like I'm trying to find guys who could just play, or ladies who could just play chords at their core and really have fun with the rhythmic aspects of it. And then I have like one hand signal you can't see, but it's like a thumb, and I point it backwards for like if I want to go to the next part. You know what I mean? So a lot of practices are just learning the chords of the songs at their core, and then live just kind of using like one hand signal to just say, okay, next part. You know what I mean? If we all know the song well enough, it should be like we can jam on this for a little longer and make it feel good. I can play my guitar for a little bit without having to worry about singing. And when I go up to the mic, that's kind of like a cue for the next part. You know what I mean? But I do want to have bigger bands with more backing tracks and stuff like that, because that stuff's so much fun, having like a bigger production, being able to do things like vocoders live, and like, like some of the, like a lot of the drum samples on that record are like water droplets from, like other records that I've had. Can I say what records they are without?
Totally.
Yeah. All right. Like,
fuck.
Panda Bear Buoys. It's Panda Bear from Animal Collective wrote this acoustic album Buoys, and it's all like water droplet samples. So I was like, let me make like the snares like samples from that record.
That's
what I mean?
crazy.
It's stuff like that. I want to be able to do stuff like that live. I think it's just a matter of like that kind of stuff needs practices. The reason I've been doing the trio thing is if you get good enough guys on the gig, you can have like one practice and have it be a good enough live show.
You're definitely going through boot camp like right now with the trio.
Yeah, definitely.
That is so
cool,
man. Fucking doing like hand signals and like
just one hand
signals. Like that is sick.
Yeah. Because too many hand signals can like stifle the creative process.
Definitely.
I don't want to be like a police officer
You're
on
just
stage.
Like cue.
Next thing. Like if a part gets boring, like sometimes I'll look at like my friend who plays bass, Kyle Rowe, and like he'll do the hand signal, and I'm like, okay, all right, word. So one of us knows that like it's getting a little boring right now.
That's fucking
and we gotta go
awesome.
somewhere else.
That's how you know you got a good trio there.
Yeah, exactly.
Hell yeah, man.
Yeah.
And like I feel like that other shit is super doable. Like it's mainly just buying the shit. Like having the drummer play to the backtracks. Like he should be the only one with headphones, and then like maybe give him a drum pad. You have a fucking trigger on the snare, so like he can like just turn up droplets when he wants to or whatever.
Yeah.
And it's all running through his own amp system, and you have to bring all that to a fucking show too.
Yeah, and have the off chance that it's not gonna work. You ever played like a small like show, and like you're the third band on the bill, and you have to set up all of your like electronic equipment? Like
I got a story or two. So I got two stories actually. So like one,
it's the worst.
We played, me and Brandon. It was the first People Eating Fruit show ever, and we're at Circle of Hope.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Circle of Hope.
Yeah, like
Where's that?
it's like next to Circle of Thrift. It's like their church or whatever. Like little area where they have events and stuff.
Yeah.
And so it was like this whole open mic night or whatever, and we were just gonna do 2 songs, and like we did all this dumb shit. I bust out the Ableton Push to just press play and look fancy, and
Hell
like maybe turn up a chorus, and I had like my laptop and an interface, and like we start the first song, and in the first song like it glitches in like 5 seconds, and like in the actual track it does this like but like right before that happened, it's just here, and the sound cut out, and the interface like reset, and like because like the thing kept getting jiggled, like the plug, and wouldn't ever keep it back in, and kept like, and it was like blowing out the fucking speakers almost, and so like we had to like take it down. It was so fucking embarrassing. Like we're like looking in the back at the fucking interface. The guy's like, maybe we can take it apart. I'm like, you're not fucking taking it apart. I'm just buying a new one. Just play the MP3s. I'll email you them right now. And so we just did that. I feel like the next person had to go on because it took so long to try and troubleshoot that shit. And we just fucking pressed play, and I was just like, yeah. Because like I was gonna be like the DJ guy.
Yeah.
And there's only certain parts where I sing anyway. So that fucking sucked.
That would have been funny for that if you like just put on a bunch of white noise and like took apart the interface in front of the audience. You know what I mean? The entire time, or like brown noise. You put on a bunch of brown noise. Everyone stands there, watches you take apart a piece of electronics.
That wouldn't be. That's not the crowd, but I'd like that.
Yeah, that'd be lit.
If I was at a show and a band was about to play and their shit broke and then they played Brown Noise, I'd be like, yo.
Yeah, me too. I'd be in the front of the crowd,
best
like
set.
woo!
I would be like, I'd be like, 6 set, bro.
Yeah, 6 set, bro. Can I borrow your pedals?
Yeah.
Can I borrow your interface?
Yeah, man, please. I don't want to play either.
Wait, what was your other story?
It was like one of the first fucking house shows I ever did alone, and I was trying to play "I Miss You" live, which was like my ambient guitar project.
Yeah.
And
I
I
just
had
put on new music for that, right?
a single. Yeah.
Oh,
I put out
yeah.
a new single. Yeah. "Thinking of You" by "I Miss You." Check it out. Fucking. And I was doing these new electronic vibes, like with the push. And so, like, I had to set up, like, this monitor. I had to set up, like... Because I brought one of these fucking things.
The KRK.
Yeah, I brought a fucking KRK to the thing. And I was trying to be extra, so I got this chick to do poetry on top of it. And, as I was going, I'm like, oh, this is terrible. Like, I should have just been instrumental. Like, this is so embarrassing. And, like, the fact that it took me, like... 10 minutes to set up. I'm like nervous, first time doing this, and like we're in the living room, so people are just standing around me I'm at a table. Oh, it fucking sucked, dude. That was the worst thing ever. And like I couldn't get it loud enough, and so like I was like, people are kind of talking way in the back, and it's like, oh, I'm never doing this ever again.
Yeah.
So yeah, you learn, and you learn not to play those gigs sometimes.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, but like I think that would be the craziest show. You guys doing what you're thinking?
Yeah, more electronic elements.
Or even just bring an electronic kit. Fuck it. Just
Yeah.
play on the electronic kit. That would be the easiest way to go about it, actually.
Yeah.
Fuck, that's...
Drummers like electronic kits too. I think some drummers do.
I think we've come around.
I think we've come around, yeah.
Like, there was a long time where people were... Mainly because they sucked.
Yeah.
They were
did.
terrible. They were absolutely terrible. So, like... And they sounded like shit, too. And, like, there was no good drum samples. Like, Travis Barker wasn't putting out his fucking drum kit on Splice
Oh,
at that
absolutely
time.
not, yeah.
Which, by the way, don't worry about sampling songs. I have Travis Barker in the new Express window. So go check that shit out.
Oh, yeah, that's the thing.
Yeah, just because... but no, I took it from Blink-182 Smile Face, the self-titled. Like, all of this, because it just starts with drums. So I'm like, yoink!
Oh, yeah,
Yeah, they're
absolutely.
great. Yeah, so what's your plans for... Oh, yeah, you were talking about, like, music platform distribution things. So, like, what was the thing about that?
Yeah, I don't know. I kind of wanted to release my stuff on, like, my own label and, like, make it, like, a thing for my friends to also release probably singles on first. I don't want to have to get involved with, like, huge projects yet, but...
Do not do DistroKid, then.
Don't do DistroKid.
No, you're going to go through that. You're going to... What a waste.
I'm using it now, like, but I have like the single artist plan.
Yeah, that's fine for that.
Yeah.
DistroKid is great for individuals.
But they have a huge label plan. Right?
It's not worth it.
No.
Unless you are me, as in like you are all of those fucking names, it's not worth it because now you just bought a artist slot for your friend. As in you just bought like a $60 thing, $30 thing a year for your friend. Mm-hmm. Who's going to release what? 2 things a year if you're
maybe
lucky?
2 or 3 things, yeah.
Fuck that. Dude, Root Note, it's free.
Yeah.
And you can, like, add in the label line, whatever fucking label you want to be, so it'll always come up at the bottom. And that shit's free, unlimited. Or you could do Symphonic.
Symphonic's cool.
Yeah, but they're, like, invite only.
Oh.
They're weird. Like,
Do they have an application, or you have to be on their map?
I don't fucking know, because honestly, they emailed me. And...
Oh, cool.
But and then like I hear other people like oh yeah I'll sign up for them too, and like they just don't get back to them. So try Symphonic if you can, and it just blow them up on Instagram or some shit if they don't get back to you. Like that's a good way because they seem to be pretty hot on Instagram right now.
Oh, cool.
But they're great because they're unlimited, and you can pitch to DSPs and shit, which is super cool. Which is like. Basically, it can bypass a lot of steps and talk to editorial people, like, better.
Cool.
I think that's why they're exclusive, because they take on that role. But that's
Right.
definitely worth it.
No, that makes sense. They're almost like a mediator. That's what I would want to build, I guess, in the future. Something like that, to be a mediator between.
Yeah, well then you would have
editorial
to
teams.
fill out those. They're huge forms. It's not huge, but it's like a lot. It takes like some time. It doesn't. You can't just do it in 5 seconds. You have to like write a whole what you're gonna do for the album for promotion and like what's happening. Like what is this? Like who wrote it and why and blah blah blah. You have to get them interested. You can't just make it. I'm ominous and cool. You'll never know.
Well, yeah, because they're probably providing like financial support to you, so in some
Not
ways.
even that. It's just like the song's got to be a banger,
Yeah.
and you gotta be somewhat coherent. You know,
Mhm,
in the
as an
sense of
artist.
like I'm gonna promote it this way, like I'm doing it like this, like I'm taking this seriously. But at the same time, I've uploaded shit on a whim Spotify pitch, and like typed in nothing and been playlisted. So shit is random.
It is so random.
Yeah, I think someone on Spotify is like deep on Twitter, on like a lot of people's fucking feeds and stuff, because I feel like that's the only way I got on the Vaporwave list, because that's the only where I'm hot is in Twitter Town and Bandcampville for fucking Vaporwave, and it's like nothing on Spotify. So that blew me the fuck away. And so I really think just be awesome everywhere and just try to make more friends. And like do you have like a lot of peers that play similar shit that you're always like, okay, we'll hit up this band and this band? Or if like, do you have someone in mind like right now you would do a split with?
A split? No, that's the interesting thing. I mean, maybe not off the top of my head, right? That's something I would need to think about.
Like the music your friends are putting out, is that going to be anything close to what you're doing?
No, because I don't try to make music like my friends, and I don't think they try to make music like me. They all like my music, and I love theirs. Like, we go out and support each other.
Mm-hmm.
But that's a good question. That's probably... No, that is interesting.
Because I feel like you got to, like, not even like internet friends. Like, you got to find someone.
Yeah, I
you
got to
can-
reach out on the internet
You got
more.
to start getting similar artists.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like that's a great way people can build, especially when you're super niche and you're not pumping out a dick ton of media. Like, you're not
Yeah, I'm not.
you're not doing
Yeah.
you're not going great, but you're doing great in the real world, playing shows and getting people like that. You just need to get squared away with the fucking Spotify stuff. I
Yeah,
feel.
exactly. Like, own that internet aspect of it. I've been avoiding that so much, and I don't know why. It's something that I should, because I grew up on that. Like, when I was younger in that electronic music era, like, my friend Nick and I were Skyping random people all the time, and that whole era of SoundCloud where everyone was so open to,
Really?
like, yeah, we were doing that all the time, and I was so involved in that world, and somehow I just like fell away from it, which is interesting. Yeah, I've been on Instagram a lot, like promoting my stuff, but not too much though. Like, my Instagram presence has been like a combination of me as like a person and a little bit of my music. It's weird. I have this weird fear of not shoving my music in people's faces too much, but still owning it. That's something I got to get over, or like finding the right way to like shove it in
Yeah.
maybe areas besides like my immediate like peer group. You know what I mean?
Definitely, that's something it's a crutch.
Yeah.
Like, that's something it's hard to get away from that. And like, when you realize like, oh, this is a dry well, it's hard to like make that shift if you haven't already, to like finding randos to like your shit.
Yeah.
But what's your whole opinion on that? Because like, you're in like a whole different field of like generation, blah, blah, blah. Like, what's your whole opinion on like promoting your music on social medias and TikToks and stuff like that? Like, what do you feel like works and what doesn't work?
That's a good question.
Yeah.
It's so oversaturated with, I feel like, a lot of stuff that doesn't work but still gets like so many views anyways.
Then would you say that
I
does work then? Like, what it
sounds like it does
like
work,
doesn't work
right?
for you, I guess?
Yeah, it doesn't work for me. I don't see myself as the guy making like selfie videos with like closed captions, but
Yeah.
I could, and I don't mind when other people do that. Like, I don't care. For some people, it like works really well.
Yeah, I tried to do that for a little bit, where I just made it like whatever videos of like, hey, I forgot I produced this song. Like, where I literally would just hit shuffle on my discography playlist and be like, oh yeah. And,
No, it
and
looks
then-
good when you do it though. Like, when you have a bunch of new tapes out, you're like, you got one. It looks like professional. You're like in the studio.
I hope it does, man. Every time I look back, I'm just like, man, I need better lighting, because I look like I shot this on a potato. Like,
No, that's not
yeah,
true.
these overheads suck. But no, I feel you. It's a weird, oversaturated world right now.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it is weird. I want to find my place in that. I see a lot of like I guess garage rock bands are the type of thing I'm looking for.
Mm-hmm.
The kind of punk bands, but I feel like garage rock's a little more like jammy than
I feel
a
like
lot of
you're
traditional.
jammy.
Exactly. I want to play with more jammy artists.
Yeah.
There's a lot of jam bands around here. A lot of like
Yeah.
people who love like the Grateful Dead and stuff like that.
Oh, that's a great idea.
That's
Get tight with
interesting.
jam bands.
You think so?
Because yeah, like you would be probably the best set. Like if like say 2 years down the line, you're playing a pretty stacked show with a couple jam bands, and you're following like the same vibe like that you're telling me you're doing now.
Yeah.
Like you would be the pop act of the jam band show. People would remember the songs. They wouldn't be like, is this the same one? They would be
the
like,
fever
yo,
dream of being at a jam band show.
these guys rock the fucking house. They played like 11 fucking songs.
Yeah, that'd be cool. Like I want to be like the stereo lab in a world full of like Grateful Dead cover bands. You know what I mean? Something like that.
That's a great way to look, stereo lab.
Something like that.
But that's what I'm saying. It's like be that modern in the where fans are diehard as fuck.
Mm-hmm.
And in the sense of like I don't know, that's just like something that's not there, like you don't like we don't have this, like I can't think of a jam band vibe band that pumps out like pop songs where it's like, oh, this is like still has that funky, wavy, trippy vibe, and it's only 3 minutes.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like, or like The Zone, like that's like a 4 or 5 minute song, but that's still like a pop track with a jam in it.
Yeah.
Stuff like that. It's just like that has a market for it. I feel like that would be a perfect whole.
That would be interesting. Or like, because I think about that a lot, and like when I was a kid, I would watch like this really sounds so corny, but like Ultra Music Festival live streams or like Miami stuff like that.
Those are still cool.
I know
as
they
fuck.
still are cool. Like I love the idea of outdoor festivals, and like maybe if Midside as a project could be the band on a lot of like DJ bills too. Sink into something like that, even if they're like more mainstream DJs.
Yes,
that could also be something cool, right?
That's also just right next door to jam bands.
Exactly.
Too.
That audience is so much crossover, right?
Yeah.
Like I hear of a lot of people who like go to fish shows for like 5 or 6 years, or their parents were taking them as kids, and
Or how many DJs play with Slightly Stupid and shit like that.
Right.
It's like I feel like you could hop in on that. Or like even the 311s type crowd,
Yeah, exactly.
Like there's a whole world that still exists that's not really being catered to anymore, but people want it. It didn't just fucking go away. Like that shit's not on the radio anymore, but they're still touring, and all these types of bands are still touring. I feel like you can fill that hole, buddy.
Oh yeah, definitely. That's interesting. Yeah. Outside, I want to be playing outside.
Definitely.
I like those larger when you play festivals too. You're catering to
dude, I'm
larger audiences.
I'm gonna have to send you to Ma'am.
You
gotta play Burning Man. Oh,
Burning Man.
I'm sending you to Ma'am. We're gonna talk to
Burning
them.
Man.
Yeah.
Is that an East Coast thing?
It's like a fucking yeehaw thing. That's what it is.
That's cool.
They're awesome. They're the coolest fucking like country folk rock band ever, and they're like doing their own festivals and stuff. So you should definitely hop on that.
That'd be cool.
What's your notes for the future? Like, what can we expect coming from Midside? Like, what should we expect?
Yeah, that's a good question. A lot of DJ sets. I want to keep DJing like with a controller. Catch me on Serato. That's it. And then another album soon. I've been grinding writing music.
Nice.
So that's really it. One of my best friends is on tour right now, so my bass player friend. So I'm thinking about getting like a separate trio together, or my drummer Kyle and I do some stuff with some backing tracks, just kind of like DJing covers and stuff like that, pedalboard and guitar and drummer
awesome.
And Serato, something like that, or like launching clips on Ableton. So that, or just solo Serato gigs, and then I've been playing guitar for my friend Cole's project, Body of 2, which I probably told you about a while ago. That's like a super ambient, but like really hip ambient project. The two of us are kind of both playing guitar and like triggering like tracks on Ableton and stuff like that. So we're looking to play some like art gallery type gigs with like flashing lights, and he's so talented. He's got friends who do like visualizers and projector kind of stuff. So we've been playing in his studio to like the album to like a projector, just hanging out.
That's awesome, man.
Yeah.
That's super sick.
That could be really cool. So
Let me know when you're doing something with that.
Yeah,
Like, I'd
yeah.
love to check that out.
Body Of would be really cool.
Body of.
Yeah. So we're looking to do that with like DJs and stuff like that too.
Beautiful. I'd love to do a set with you.
Yeah. Your stuff would fit in really well with us.
MSU would be perfect for that.
Absolutely.
Word. Let me know what's up.
Yeah, I will.
All right.
We're
you
still in
heard it here,
practice phase.
folks. Oh, still in this practice phase?
Yeah.
You get to play a show?
We haven't played a show yet.
Visualizer people?
I know.
And you've yet to play a show?
Yeah, Cole and I haven't played a show yet, but it's gonna sound really good. Like our practices are getting really tight.
All right, send me some videos or some shit, man.
I will.
That sounds super
Oh,
interesting.
it's gonna be so good.
Fuck, I'll have to
Yeah.
talk to the video guys and be like, hey, can you just play this?
Yeah, anything. Yeah.
Because I have a shit ton of visuals. I just don't have anything to play it on.
Right. Slip them a flash drive.
Yeah, so I'm a flash drive with a 5.
Exactly. You know
That's all
the
I
deal.
can afford, I'm sorry. All right, fuck, dude. Thanks so much for coming up. And I think we're just going to cut it there. And thanks so much for listening.
Yeah.
If you have anything else you want to add really quick, or where can we find you?
You can find me on Instagram at NoisyWidit. That's really it, NoisyWidit. I'm working on a website on NeoCities. If you've ever heard of NeoCities, you're gonna love NeoCities. But the midside website on NeoCities is terrible. But you'll see that on my Instagram when I get it up and running.
Cool. So
But-
check out Noisy with it to stay up to date with all this crazy shit this
Oh, yeah.
crazy man's got going on. Ryan, thanks so much for coming on.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
All right, you've heard it here. Go listen to another podcast. Bye.